Harper.
Rod is at work.
Good.
You're at work. I think it said last time he was there was an email maybe, I don't remember.
These are the resolution for the bus and the CPF, so you guys just need to sign. Unless you're gonna vote no and sign
It
it.
is 6 o'clock, I believe, in starting on time and ending on time. I'll ask our secretary for a roll call.
Everyone's present but Rod Kelsheimer.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order and ask everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Wabash City Schools provides a relevant and rigorous education founded upon relationships to ensure each student is college and career ready for success in a global community. I'd like to welcome anybody and recognize any visitors. And do we have some visitors? We have. Aren't they visitors?
We're going to be presenting for us
Okay.
tonight.
Well, then we'll move ahead. We do have one revision to the agenda. It is item 5 or VM, and we will discuss it when we get to it. The consent agenda includes the minutes from September 20th, 2021, claims, donations, and there are no financials. The next regular scheduled meeting of the board will be Monday, November 1st, 2021 at Wabash City Hall, 202 South Wabash Street, Wabash, Indiana. And we have communications from our building principals.
Okay, we need to approve the consent agenda.
Have a motion?
A motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. We want to move into a public hearing for Wabash City Schools, and we need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion's carried. It's all yours, Matt.
Okay, so with our tentative agreement with the Wabash City School Teachers Association, we have agreed to raise following our scale at $805 a year, except for the lower part of the tier, which we're making the new starting salary $38,220. So anybody who was below that will be raised to that. There's 21 teachers who that affects, who will come up like that. Ms. Sibley did some math for us today, and the average raise for our teachers was a little over 2.5%. And so that was our new money. We also increased our insurance contribution to go along with what we've done in the past, so it would stay at 70%. So we picked up 70% of our increase. And in the contract, we changed sick days and personal days to one lump called PTO days. And so we added a couple extracurricular positions, and that is really it. We increased. The last thing we did is for teachers who retire with us who aren't going to stay on insurance, we increased how much we would pay them for their days from $50 to $75. So if they were not going to stay on our insurance, it gave them a bigger benefit for not using up their days. So those are the only changes in the new agreement.
The question I have is, has the association approved this, or will their approval come subsequent to ours?
64-3, correct, James?
Say that one more time.
64-3, you guys approved it?
64-3 was the
Yeah.
the vote.
They approved it.
Thank you. Any other board member have any questions or comments? How about the public? Anybody in the public have any comments?
I have a comment, a question.
Please.
I know it surprises everyone I jump forward. I'd first like to thank Matt, and I'd like to thank Amy. We came to the table looking for compensation for our teachers, and with fiscal constraints being as they are, and with constraints from the state. I don't know if Matt mentioned it, but the raise at the bottom was the state asking us to do that.
By next year, we have to have it at least $40,000.
So we're doing that in 2 tiers, right? So those constraints make it very difficult. And I want to thank Matt and Amy for working as hard as they did to be inventive about how they were able to compensate us, and they really went after it. If you look at some of those retirement things, those don't pay you now, but they do pay you later, and it is something we were capable of doing. I do have one question, Matt. 2.5%. How'd you get that number? Is that the total monies that the teachers
Yep.
got divided by the body? I would note that that isn't entirely indicative of what each teacher's getting. The bottom obviously is getting more. You might get a teacher who was making,
It's 9%.
It ranged from, I think, 1.2 to
Yeah,
9.2.
and so I would argue for those young teachers making $35,000 a year, we weren't paying them anywhere near their market value. And I would still argue at 40,000, we probably aren't paying market value for what a teacher's worth when you look at their degrees once we get there next year. So I appreciate the state raising the bottom, because I think it's good to keep those teachers from being paid under their market value. It did constrain us, but I did want to point out that 2.5% was a whole body of money, which is not bad. I mean, it's not a bad compensation, especially again, considering those constraints. So thank you guys. And again, the vote was 64-3, so we had 3 no votes. None of those no votes included any comments, and they're anonymous, so I don't know who voted no, nor would I want to. So
Thank you, sir.
I think the PTO days will be fantastic for teachers.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other comments?
Friday at 4:45 will be the meeting to ratify the contract.
Okay. If there are any additional comments, we'll have a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Old business, I don't believe we have any. New business, item number A, School Spotlight, LH Carpenter Early Learning Center.
Just tell me when you're ready to go to the next slide.
Okay. Well, I'm very wordy, so I have to cut this down, guys. I chose to talk to you about SOR, which is Science of Reading. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Secret Agents, which is our Title I, and the professional development. So SOR stands for Science of Reading, and it's basically a body of research of several disciplines, such as education, special education, psychology, neurology, literacy, and more. And they have provided us with an understanding of how children learn to read, what skills are needed or involved, and how the brain works in that reading development. Okay, so they've compiled all of this. And from that research, they have come up with what becomes a strong reader. So we're really delving into this year, because I believe teaching kindergarten, I've seen, in education, the game goes around in a circle, and you start this, and I came in on phonics, then we went to balanced literacy, and now we're back to really the science of reading, which is what makes sense to me as a previous kindergarten teacher. But we look at that, and we look first, print awareness, understanding what print is. So you do this when they're little. You look at a book and we teach them, this is the front of the book, this is the back of the book. When we open the book, this is where we start to read. And our new NWEA assessment that Amy, and I'm so thankful for that, it gives us so much better data than what we have done in the past, which was DIBELS or M-Class, because it gives us these foundational skills, which aligns so well with the science of reading. So as a teacher, it is giving us powerful information that we can use in our classrooms. The print awareness was on the foundational skills beginner that I gave my preschoolers. And it actually asked them, do they know the front of the book, the back of the book? Where do you start? When I'm done with this page, where do I go next? And you'd be amazed, many kids don't know that yet, but hopefully they will by the end. Going on to phonological and phonemic awareness. This is the ability to hear, identify, and play with sounds in spoken language. This is something that we think kids know, but they don't. And it is a very, very powerful component. And without that becomes reading problems, which is our dyslexia learners. And those are the kids that are going to struggle in reading. When we think of dyslexia, we think of backwards letters, but that's not really what all dyslexia is all about. It's really being able to manipulate those sounds. And you're going to do that in a second. I'm going to show you what that looks like. But some examples of that would be rhyming, toy boy, sentence segmentation. So they say a sentence, they have to tell you how many words are in that sentence. Syllables, wagon, there's 2 syllables. But then if I tell you turkey, then you have to tell me what that word is by blending that together. Onset in rhymes, birds, what does that make? Is, and you do this all by listening. There's no paper pencil involved in this. This is all just oral. And then we go into more phonemic awareness, blending sounds into words, segmenting words into sounds, cat, act, where they're having to pull it apart. Deleting and manipulating sounds in spoken words. So I had Mrs. Clark do a phonemic awareness with our Hegarty. We purchased these last year when Nigel was here. I did it through the Title I grant because OJ Neighbors is a school-wide Title I. All of their K through 2 teachers received a phonemic awareness Hegarty book. And it's just a book because it's oral, all oral. So all of us teachers 1 and 2 are doing it, if I'm not mistaken. And then we are doing it at the preschool level and at the kindergarten level. So they were wonderful, but you can't download it. So guess what, guys? You are going to be guinea pigs. I'm going to do just a little bit with you. So humor me and be a kid again. So the first one is segmenting words. So if you would put your hands together and if you would say football.
Football.
And now we're going to pull it apart. Football.
Ball.
They say raincoat.
Raincoat.
Raincoat. Good. Say something.
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 Okay, that is pulling words apart. Adding words. Okay, I am going to say room. You repeat room.
Room.
Okay, we're going to add the word sun and put it together and make
Word what?
sunroom.
Oh, gosh.
Add sun.
I'm like, room
Sorry.
sun.
So say room,
Room.
add sun,
Sun.
put it together.
Sunroom.
Say room,
Room.
add play.
Play. Playroom.
Playroom.
I'm deleting words. So this time I'm going to say fireman, and we're going to put 2 palms up, say fireman, and we're going to take off the man. Okay, so say fireman,
Fireman.
say it without the man.
Fire.
Fire.
Say snowman,
Snowman.
say it without the man.
Snow.
Snow.
Say policeman,
Policeman.
Policeman.
say it without the man.
Police.
Police.
And it's about a 7 to 8 minute routine that they get. Okay, let's do. Okay, you're gonna put 2 thumbs together with your fist and you're gonna say birthday.
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 And we're gonna take birth out and replace it with sun.
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Okay, say every day,
Every day.
take every off and put it back with some.
Someday.
Mhm. Say weekday,
Weekday.
take off week and put birth.
Birthday.
And the last one is counting words. The cat is black. The
Cat is black.
4 words in your sentence. I can see you now.
I can see you now.
So it's just something very oral, but a lot of people take that for granted. There's a lot more, it changes daily, but it's really neat to see the difference. And before we took NWEA, some of the kids had some of this phonemic awareness. And the format is very similar to what we're doing here. So I am extremely excited to see our data now and our data at the end of phonemic awareness with Hegarty. So thank you.
Thank you.
Besides that, we also do need to connect the sound of speech with letters. So obviously the sounds and the letters that they make. And then with the science of reading, they look at that first is if I say cat, then you say k, they write C. At, they write A. T, they write T. Then they read the word cat. Rather than reading it and stretching it out. They're going back to using those sounds, putting it on paper, and reading what they wrote. And then obviously, you're wanting them to read without receiving expression. Vocabulary is constantly being added to their repertoire of words. You're constantly giving them a lot of language with the books that you read. I mean, a kindergarten teacher can read anywhere from 5 to 8 books a day. And you're constantly enriching them with that language. And then comprehension, obviously being able to read and understand what you're reading. So I hit a little bit on the NWEA test, which is what we're doing. Our kindergartners took the foundational skills and our preschoolers took the foundational skills beginner. The only difference is the preschool did the print concepts and the kindergarten, the last thing they did was if they could read, and we did have some readers, they read a sentence and they had to match the picture that went with that sentence. Next time we'll do a reading oral fluency, because some of our kindergartners will be reading very simple sentences and very simple books, and that will give us a reading lab so that we can finish them that way. I lost my train of thought, so we're not going to worry about that. This is just the skills that they were tested over on the NWEA. So you can see a lot of that phonemic manipulation, addition, deletion, substitution, which is kind of what we were doing with you. The listening comprehension, they had to listen to a sentence, and this was difficult for our little ones, and then choose a picture that went with that sentence. That's where I noticed we really, really lacked. But with 4 and 5-year-olds, that's also very typical. So, picture vocabulary, you can tell the ones that really have had some background experience. Knob, picture of a doorknob. They had to know that that was a knob. So just some different things of what we call things. So there's just some more things that they were tested over. So Carol does my secret agent. She's retired and I forced her to come back. So she wanted something really cool to do with our kids. So she calls them secret agents, and they're trying to decode some words and figure out the sounds and letters that come with what they mean. She uses a Roxy reading program, which is aligned to SLR, Science of Reading. So we're really going to try to focus in on our most struggling kids and do it as a systematic phonics program is what it is. Saxon Phonics was another one we used to use years ago when I taught 2nd grade. So she's doing it that way. We're looking in as a staff on Science of Reading and going to depict the components of it. There's 7 modules that I go through and I've done professional development for, and look at the reading program that we're doing currently and how does that line up to it. Can we tweak it, or do we need to look at something totally different? We already have the phonemic awareness going already this year. We also have what we call secret stories. So for kids, they might do a TH makes the sound. So you make it in my level something very neat, and it's a secret story, and there's a story about the TH, and then they remember that story, and when they see that TH in the word, then they remember that sound. So you have to be very dramatic in my level. So she did that. We just got done doing our family reading night, so you can go on. So she shared with the parents, because in my grant, both Beth and I both have to have a Title I family reading night to explain to our kids what Title I is. We receive money from the federal government for it, helping struggling readers, how we identify those kids, and then what they do in their program. So here's just some pictures of some of the things that she did with them. They traced letters. They used the LIPS program, which is the masks are difficult, but you're showing them how to say that word with the pictures. If you can see the picture in the far left corner by the door, those have the pictures of their mouths of what they look like when they're saying those letters. Family reading night, we took them into 4 groups. They listened to a story. Did a fingerprint for their mission, which are secret agents. They had to go on the mission. And then they received a book. They painted to uncover the secret picture of the alphabet with their parents. And then they had to race to be able to, what family could assemble 3 puzzles, alphabet puzzles, first, and they had to take the key to unlock for their next mission. And the last one, I believe, was the laser.
That's cool.
So they had to go underneath the laser and then hit the X and come back and see who did it first. She has 24 students. She had 22 that said they were coming, but our last note said you had to wear a mask, so we ended up with 12. So hopefully the next time we have one, we'll have a better response, but it's been fun. So I kind of hit on this, what's next. We're doing PD on the science of reading. It's a self-paced professional development. There's 7 modules, and then we'll compare our curriculum and see where we need to go next. How did it?
Good.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
So our sight words out.
You know, what they do with science of reading, most sight words, can be decoded once you learn letters and sounds.
Sure.
But they call them heart words. So let's take the word said. You know, the beginning of the word said is S, that's an S. The end of the word is D, that's a D. You have to learn
What's
that the
middle?
AI says sorry. So that becomes your heart. So it's a heart word. You have to learn that by heart.
Yeah.
So more of it is once you learn the letters and sounds, then you're beginning to decode words. So they say not to do at the beginning of the 9 weeks all of these memorizing ones. You really need to wait till you have your letters and sounds and you're building that.
That makes a lot more sense.
It does. It does.
Sounds like kids are gonna really start learning how to enjoy reading, or once you get it figured out, it makes reading so much more fun. I wish they had this back when I was in elementary school.
And your
Isn't it amazing?
brain learns it, but you need to make sure that it goes over
Connects
to
it.
the left side
Yeah.
to store it.
That's
And so
awesome.
many times with the things that we were doing in balanced literacy, it stayed in the right side of the brain, never got to the left side of the brain. So our 3rd and 4th graders were having difficulty when you took pictures away. Because we said, well, look at the picture. It might say the bear is brown. Well, they don't know what bear is, but you say, well, look at your picture
Yep.
and look at the first word. It begins with a B or letter. It begins with a B. Well, what do you think that word is? You take those pictures away, and those
They're
kids aren't
lost.
going to read. So, makes a lot of sense to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item up is B. We do not have the middle school video.
No, the middle school video still.
Okay, so we have a Wabash High School Student Council update.
Hello. We're back again. We'll be here once a month. So last time we had the 3 of us of the 4 top group. But this week we're gonna or from now on we're gonna switch off into the last one. Then we'll try to all be here. So tonight it's just me and go ahead. So we're gonna talk about the things that we had addressed last time, and then we'll talk about upcoming events. So a lot of these we tried to get pictures for, but Facebook and Instagram server is shut down today. So we have no pictures. So sorry, it's really boring. So we did lose against Southwood, but it was still a really fun time. I would show pictures of the parade and the festivities. So just try to imagine that it was really we had a really fun time. So all 4 classes compete against each other along with the entire school competing against another school. So those were so in 4th place we had the freshmen, in the 3rd place we had the juniors, 2nd place the seniors, and in the 1st place the sophomores, which I'm still trying to figure out how that was rigged. But anyways, so that was homecoming.
Oh, well, and Annie was homecoming queen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We had the blood drive. It was last Wednesday. We had 34 usable pints, which wasn't as many as we would have liked, but a lot of people were still a little cautious to donate with everything going on. So hopefully the next one, which is right now scheduled for April 12th, but we're trying to move it to March 31st. Hopefully we'll get more people at that one. But overall, it went pretty smoothly. We had it in the new connector, and it worked out really well.
Another slide where I would have put a lot of pictures, but so Harvest Ball was over the weekend. We had over 200 kids. And with the mask mandate, I didn't think it was gonna go over well, but it really did. A lot of people wore their masks and kept it up, and I was very shocked and pleased. And I was just, it was kind of refreshing to not have a ton of people yelling at, students. So it was both indoors and outdoors because of the rain. So indoors was refreshments and a little dancing area, and then some chairs and tables. And then outside was the main tent and then the music.
We did end up on this weekend.
Yeah, we did.
10:30, so everyone had to go home early, but.
But that's a fun one.
Yeah.
It's a part.
Yeah, exactly. So here's some upcoming events. So we have the club fair next week. Is it?
Yes, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So for parents listening at home, high school, and I think maybe middle school. Okay, well, but definitely high school, during advisories, we'll have our club fair and you'll get to walk around and do that. The fish food drive, this is a tentative date because it kind of overlaps with another food drive, for fish, so we're not really sure how much we're gonna get this year. But as of right now, it's November 1st through the 5th.
In past years, it has been super helpful for fish.
Yes, and we just helped them, a couple of us helped them move to their new location. So they're definitely accepting stuff, but I think the week before, or maybe the week of, there's another group,
I think the museum.
yes, is doing one. So we're trying to, and then fall break is coming up, and then report cards go out this Friday. And we have 140 days off of school. I was talking to Annie today, and I was like, I can't wait till it says 10, So, yes, thank you all
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. Next item is to adopt the 2022 bus replacement plan. Need a motion, please, and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion, Matthew, it's all yours.
Just basic 5-year plan. We didn't do any buses last year, so we have 2 on the plan this year, but we also are to the point that our last lease payment of the first lease is gonna happen before this starts. So it should just be in a nice rotation now, keep us at a steady amount that we're paying out every year. But it's just the basic plan. We didn't add anything, or we're just replacing the 2 oldest buses that we really need to replace. One of them is inoperable already, so that's all. It's
Okay,
easy,
thank you.
simple plan.
Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion's carried. Capital improvements plan, item D. Need a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Matthew, you get to lead the discussion again.
This one's real easy. It's only items that are on our project that we just took out the bonds for. We do not have the money in our regular operations account to do any capital projects, not with our tax cap hit we take. So things that are listed on that plan are only things that are being done with the project with the bonds.
Anybody have any questions? Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Item, approve the recommendation to hire Gina Courtois, I should have known, as Director of SEL on a 205-day administrator contract at $65,000 paid through ESSER, funds effective.
So moved.
Motion and a second.
So we had 4 candidates that we interviewed. 2 were very strong candidates. The committee decided on Gina. Gina has been the director of SEL at Warsaw Community Schools for the last 3.5 years. So she has been instrumental in the SEL initiatives they have in their district, and she brings a wealth of knowledge and a huge amount of passion for SEL to our district. So we're very excited for her to join. She was going to be here tonight, and she texted me that she had a fever, and I said, please stay home. So we are working with her on a start date. So we're, like I said, we're excited.
Do you have any questions? How many applicants did we have?
4.
4. And were they all interviewed?
Yep,
So are we just voting upon say approving her and then she can start whenever you see fit?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she needs to give notice there, and
Obviously,
with our
yeah.
fall break,
Okay.
we'll figure out when
That
it
makes
works.
sense.
Okay.
Cool.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Item F, approve maternity leave for Sarah Delgadillo from November 22nd, 2021 to January 21st, 2022. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
We're just excited for Sarah to have this time off with her new baby, and we keep looking to see, like, okay, she looks like she's getting a little bit bigger. Is she gonna make it to this time? So we'll see.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion's carried. Item G, approve travel to Phoenix, Arizona for Solution Tree PLC training in February 2022 for a team of administrators and teachers. We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
This training will be the beginning steps to really start the process of developing professional learning communities within our district. To start, we will send building principals and a minimum of 2 teachers at each building to be trained. And then these folks will come back and begin training their teams and their buildings on just the foundation of what a PLC is and the processes that are necessary to improve student learning. This training is paid for from our Title II funds, which is specifically targeted for professional development. And we will most likely be taking a second group of individuals to a PLC training next summer just to continue to grow staff capacity on PLCs.
Anyone have any questions?
It is, I think it's 4 days. So we'll leave on Monday, and I think we return Thursday.
Any others? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Item H, approve transfer of Kim Roy from Wabash Middle School, Wabash High School custodian to OJ Neighbors custodian effective September 27th, 2021. Motion and a second. Discussion.
I believe she was part-time, correct?
No, she
Or-
only worked for us for like 2 weeks. And then
Okay.
when the OJ position opened up, she said, I'd really like to go work there.
Okay,
And
Okay.
so we let her do that.
Okay. So another internal transfer.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Approve a recommendation to hire Jacqueline Clark as cafeteria staff at OJ Neighbors effective October 5th, 2021. Motion and a second. Discussion.
So we've had several internal transfers, so Mrs. Clark is filling one of our open cafeteria positions.
Questions, discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Approve the recommendation to declare approximately 50 band instruments from the middle school and high school as surplus. Motion and a second. Discussion, Matthew?
They found a place that will buy these old, and some of these are old, like 70s old.
Oh, wow.
And they will pay them, because I take it they're gonna refurbish them. But these are instruments that we're not using, they're sitting on the shelf. And so our band director went to the principals and said, hey, we could sell these and use the money for our current band for other things. So the money will stay with the band, and they'll be able to use it for what they need. So, and these aren't instruments that are being used, these are instruments on the shelf.
Questions, comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. K, approve a recommendation to hire Andrew Labonte as the middle school, high school second shift custodian effective October 25th, 2021.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Mr. Labonte will fill an open full-time position at the middle school and high school. We're excited that he's joining our team. With this hire, we still have a half-time position open at Carpenter and a full-time position at the middle school and high school. We do have a college student that is working part-time at the high school, and I believe there's a para that is helping out a few hours a week at Carpenter until we can get somebody in there.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion's carried. Item L, approve the following coaches for 2021, 2022. There's about 300 people listed here. So I'm going to not read them. You'll have them in front of you. We'll be happy to accept a motion. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
So these are many of our winter coaching positions that we're approving tonight, and we are pleased that these individuals are willing to give their time to coach our student athletes.
Any questions? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Item M, this is the item we added to the agenda. Approve the following coaches for 2021, 2022. High school boys basketball volunteers, Tom Wright and Jerry Gannon. Tyler Gannon, excuse me. Wrestling volunteers, Jim Olinger and Tyler Nickham. Middle school wrestling assistant, Jake Smith. Elementary basketball coach, Jared McKee, Josh Long, Tom Wright. Elementary basketball volunteers, Brad Kaufman, Joe Kaufman, Tyler Leland.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
So these requests were turned in after the agenda was published, so it's just more of our winter sports coaches.
Any discussion? So I could have got them under the 300 if they'd have pushed it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Items from the superintendent.
On Friday, September 24th, I got to attend the Walk Into My Future that was held at Manchester University. All of our kindergarten through third grade students attended. It was so nice to see a sea of orange, all of our students in their orange t-shirts. And it gives our students the opportunity to be on a college campus. They participate in a variety of activities. There are a lot of college students there doing things with them. And this is provided through the Wabash YMCA, and they administer the Promise Indiana Wabash County. And this initiative gives our students the opportunity to pursue educational dreams through savings, college and career discovery in the classroom, and on-campus experiences like they have in Manchester. And from now until October 31st, if parents in those grades open up a 529 account, the Wabash YMCA will donate $25 to that account. And then as the kids continue through Wabash City Schools, they can continue to earn money that's contributed. So if families have any questions about opening a 529 account, they can contact Jana Thebos at the Y. So we encourage them to do that. They're having a Dash in the Bash 5K run. I will be running it, and I asked my husband if he will run with me. I don't know if he will. We have run a couple times, so maybe he will. And it's a costume run, so I might even try to talk him into wear some type of like matching costume. So I don't know if I can get that, so we'll see. But all the money that's raised through that Dash in the Bash goes towards the Promise Promise Indiana, so it's a very good cause. We will just real quick, I will remind everybody that our county remained orange last week. We are hopeful, though, our numbers are dropping. And so we are hoping that in the next couple weeks that we will get back to yellow and we will be able to return to mask optional. So an email did go out to parents yesterday, and we will start trying to get that out by Thursday or Friday each week to let them know for the following week. It also went out to 6th grade through 12th grade students, so they were informed as well.
So we're maintaining that because the executive order was extended? Is
Yes,
that correct?
until October 31st, so we will continue on as we are doing now, and on October 31st, we'll see what the governor does.
How many students do we have currently in quarantine?
When I checked yesterday, last week, we only had like less than 20 kids.
So considerably fewer than we
Yes,
had.
and very few positive cases within our building now.
Great.
So
Anybody have any questions? Items from our chief business officer.
I think the first thing we need to talk about is the good news that nobody today on Facebook insulted anyone over masks. So that did not happen, and maybe never again, because it may never come back. Last week at the city council meeting, I started our budget process. Only a few questions from the council, was pretty basic and pretty easy. I will go back October 25th to have our budget adopted by the city council, and then we'll get that all turned in to the state, and we'll find out what they hit us with. So, but that process is well underway. So,
That it, Matthew?
yep.
Anybody have any questions? Items from administrators. Okay, I like that. Items from visitors. Items from board members.
Let me start.
You please do.
Well, first off, at Heartland, they're approved moving forward with the building project. About 22,000 square feet is what they're looking at. That could change depending on some funding. A couple options as far as if Work One will still be there or Livermore Center will still be there. Kind of want to ante up a little bit if they're gonna provide all that. But so they're moving forward. I do have some floor plans if you're interested, at least some basic floor plans. So that's kind of a big deal out there. So I think the next few months will be very interesting to start to sort out exactly how they want things. On our side of it, this past weekend, I know football got their first win. That's exciting. Saturday, we hosted Unified Football Sectionals. Wabash competed second place. So that lost McCutcheon, and I'm not sure McCutcheon was that unified. McCutcheon might have given our regular football team a good game. But yeah, and then I know that volleyball just had their draw for sectionals, so we're really hitting the end of the fall seasons hard right now. So good luck to all the teams, and that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Report from the library, we are still moving ahead with the expansion. We are buying the house next door to the library. We're still in discussion on what to do with that. And that's it. We were looking to have our budget approved as well with city council. So other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Sir?
Yeah, I just went to the Unified football game last Wednesday. I didn't get to make it to the one on Saturday. It was a cool experience. It was my first one, so hoping I can make it out to more, because it was really cool to see how everyone just encouraged each other no matter what. I think that's something a lot of sports misses out on. So I really appreciate being able to do that, and I'm glad that we have the program. It's excellent. Otherwise, the board at the parks, we're just kind of, there's not a whole lot going on right now, so that's all right with me. So, yeah.
Thank you. The redevelopment commission will meet this week. I forget if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, so next meeting I'll have a report. I would like to express my gratitude to the association and the teachers for all the hard work you do. I want to agree with you that as a general rule, teachers are vastly underpaid, and I wish we had a whole lot more money so we could compensate you more appropriately. You guys are true heroes. I appreciate everything you do. If there's nothing else,
So moved.
we have a motion. We're done. Thank you. That's how you run a board.